Rasmus Ristolainen may miss an extended period of time. Tyson Forrester may miss a few extra games. I'm Charlie O'Connor with PHLY Sports here with your Flyers post-practice updates from the Flyers Training Center in Voorhees, New Jersey. Big story today, uncertainty surrounding the status of Rasmus Ristolainen. Earlier this week, the Flyers noted that he would be out for a few games with a minor injury. It does appear that injury just may be a bit more serious than they originally believed. First on the story was Anthony Marco at fourth period, reported that he believed Ristolainen would be out for at least a month. Then there was Kevin Kurz from The Athletic, reported he would be out for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Then I reported that they're not quite sure exactly what the timeline is, but it's something that they'll have more clarification on in the next few days. Then the Flyers finally reported their clarification. They're still referring to it as a minor injury, but there's a lot of smoke around this. It does appear that Ristolainen is going to miss some time. I certainly wouldn't expect him to play in any games this week, and it wouldn't shock me at all if he's out for quite a bit longer than that, based on the reports and based on the clear uncertainty about his status. Now, what does this do for the Flyers? In the short term, obviously losing Ristolainen does hurt. It's been a quality defenseman for them. However, he has been used mostly on the third pair, given the emergence of Sean Walker, given Travis Sanheim's ability to establish himself for the vast majority of this year as a quality right side defenseman option on the top pair. So it's not like Ristolainen has been playing on a nightly basis in the top four. This isn't going to necessarily kill them. What it does do, and this actually could be a minor benefit for them in the short term, is it kind of sets up their defense a little bit more logically. Now, they've been running with 11-7, 11-4-7 defense for quite a while now. With Ristolainen out probably for at least a few weeks, if not longer, I wouldn't be surprised if they go with more of a traditional 12-6 more often. So I do think that might help players like Sanheim, might allow Sanheim to more clearly stay on that right side where he played his best hockey in the first half of the year, and just might allow them to structure the pairings a little bit more logically. Obviously, Jamie Drysdale, a new addition as well as a right side defenseman. They could now roll, at least through the deadline, with Sanheim, Drysdale, and then Sean Walker as your 3 right side defensemen. The longer term question is what this means for the deadline. Now, there were rumors about Ristolainen's availability at the deadline. I do believe they were listening. However, I never really thought there was a good chance he was going to be moved at the deadline. I think they're listening on Risto. I think they realize the way this works out with them viewing Sanheim as a right side defenseman. Drysdale obviously being a big part of this. $5.1 million per year for Ristolainen, it's expensive for a third pair defenseman. As much as someone like Keith Jones and other people in the organization like Ristolainen, they know it's a bit of an overpay. And the problem is that most of the other teams in the league know it's a bit of an overpay. So the reason why I always thought this is probably going to be an off-season deal is because there very well could be some retention, or maybe the Flyers would have to take back a contract in order for Ristolainen to trade it. It just seemed like too complicated of a deal for it to happen at the deadline. Now, with there being uncertainty around his injury status, it seems highly unlikely he's going to get moved. However, I don't think it's going to change much about the status of Sean Walker. I still believe that the Flyers are going to listen on Sean Walker. My understanding is that the two sides, Walker's camp and the Flyers, really haven't even exchanged contract numbers, which tells me the Flyers likely don't see him as part of their future. If they don't see him as part of their future, I think there's a good chance he gets moved. I don't think the uncertainty surrounding Ristolainen's status is going to kill the possibility of trading Sean Walker. That's more informed speculation on my part than anything I specifically heard, just based on what the Flyers have been saying. And to that end, John Tortorella spoke on trade rumors today, said some interesting things, but the main thing he said, I specifically asked him about the status of Scott Laughton and about the fact that he's obviously the only guy on the team with a letter. He's a really important part of the team culture. And trading him while the Flyers are in the midst of this run could legitimately hurt what's been a really strong room. John Tortorella made it clear that that's not really a priority for him, that they've been open and forthright with the players about the situation, about the fact that the Flyers are still a rebuild, regardless of the fact that they are now 6 points up in playoff position, 6 points up on the New Jersey Devils. They're on a 4-game winning streak. They're playing good hockey. The Flyers are still rebuilding. And it doesn't seem like John Tortorella and the rest of the triumvirate is going to worry too much about whether trading Scott Laughton, if someone offers a first-round pick, maybe even more than a first-round pick, that's not going to stop them from trading Lawton if the offer is strong enough, just because they're worried that losing the only guy with a letter is going to maybe torpedo their chances at a playoff spot. They're still looking at the long term. John Tortorella basically straight up said, we can't be too emotional about this. We have to stay on the path that we're on. That's the focus. So I think that kind of holds true for Sean Walker as well. I don't think this Ristolainen news, or sort of news, is going to change that too much. But we'll see. Obviously, March 8th is still a few weeks away. We'll see how this shakes out. But I am not expecting this update on Ristolainen to change too much about the potential availability of Sean Walker. Only other major piece of news today, Tyson Forrester, originally projected to be back by the weekend, or they were hoping he was going to be back by the weekend. Now it looks like, unfortunately, the rookie likely won't play in the Stadium Series game, outdoor game, against the Devils. It just seems like it's taking a little bit longer for it to heal. Look, my assumption is that this isn't a broken foot. It's clearly coming off of the block shot that he took a few games ago. If it was a broken foot, I imagine they would have been talking about this as a minor injury. My guess is it's a bad bruise, and maybe the bruise just isn't healing as quickly as they originally thought. Flyers, from what I'm told, still view this as a minor injury, just one that maybe is taking a bit longer to heal than they would have hoped. It's disappointing. I'm sure Tyson Forrester really wants to play in that outdoor game. I'm sure he's going to try. I'm sure he's going to push. But they are obviously focused on not throwing him out there when he's in serious pain, when he's not going to be effective. So I wouldn't expect Tyson Forrester, obviously, not to play. He's obviously not going to play against Toronto tomorrow in Toronto. I wouldn't expect him to play in the Stadium Series game, but I guess we'll see. It's a pretty eventful day. I will be joining Bill Matz later today for our daily show in studio, but that will do it for my post-practice updates. I've been Charlie O'Connor with PHLY Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
We all silly like the mayor.